in South Pasadena, and yes, so very close to the epicenter, and we felt a pretty sharp series of jolts here. I even had a small item just sort of tip itself off over upstairs, and so I think that's the first time we've ever had, anything other than kind of rattling in this location. So.
I was on the Caltech campus. It was pretty strongly felt on campus in the dining commons. It's a pretty good jolt. Nothing was knocked over, but I think almost everybody felt it.
Yeah, me too. I'm here in my office at Caltech, and it was a nice jolt. I was eating a salad and had to set it down and get under my desk. It was a really good jolt. I was in the Mexico City earthquake in 2017, and I'll say the biggest difference was the duration. The duration of that was just a lot longer, and then the whole building shook, and so it was a very noticeable difference immediately that this one just ended much quicker.
People are asking us about reports of damage or injuries. Remember that those don't come to the seismologists; those go through emergency management and police departments. I have seen a report, I can't validate it, that there's somebody trapped in an elevator at Pasadena City Hall. But I don't know if that's true or not.
So we get the did you feel it reports coming in from people who experienced the shaking, and then quite a few people felt that. We have over 15,000. I don't know if this was covered before I was able to jump on. If people felt it, we do encourage them to go to the website and tell us what they felt. That helps us put together a map. I'm not seeing reports of shaking at a damaging level. It was just right at that cusp from what's come in so far.
Thank you. And we have quite a few attendees right now, so maybe someone could provide another overview of the earthquake, what time it was, where it was, the magnitude. Anyone who wants to take that, go ahead.
Sounds like a question for Alan.
I was going to suggest, actually, I can do the Spanish one and give the English one to someone else, but I can do both of that too.
Elizabeth, you can pick it up. I personally haven't had a chance to look at all the data yet.
Sure. So at about 12:20 this afternoon, we had a magnitude 4.4 earthquake located just south of Highland Park, California, in an area of Highland Park, South Pasadena, just south of Pasadena. And the earthquake was located at about 8 miles deep. As was just covered, we have a large number of felt reports up to intensity 5. That's sort of just around the level at which we might expect slight damage to perhaps begin to occur. Folks locally to the epicenter felt a series of sharp jolts. This was widely felt across the Los Angeles basin, and it was preceded by 2 earthquakes in the last day of magnitude 1.7 and 1.3.
The initial magnitude that went out was 4.7, and not uncommonly that was downgraded to a 4.4. And there's also, it's right on the border of Highland Park in South Pasadena. So the first location that went out was South Pasadena, but it's been updated to Highland Park, which is it's a community within Los Angeles.
All right, it looks like we have another question in the Q&A. Using your spare. I'm sorry, go ahead, Alan.
Did you want me to repeat that in Spanish first?
Oh yeah, you know what, go ahead, and we'll come back to this question.
Okay. Ese es para repetir.
All right, as we listen in to experts there at Caltech, let's go to Bob DeCastro, who is live at the scene in South Pasadena. I know you felt it, Bob. Tell us what you felt, where you are specifically, and what's going on around you.
Hey there, can you hear me? I'm not sure. It's kind of low.
Yes.
Oh,
go ahead, Bob.
Okay, Sandra. Yeah, I was. It's interesting because it was very strong, and I was in Pasadena. I just so happened to be here in Pasadena on an errand, and I was inside a showroom, in an auto showroom, getting a car repair of all things, and the entire place shook pretty violently, not once but twice. So it felt like two pretty large jolts, and everybody just kind of looked at each other. And it's kind of procedure and protocol for the place when you have an emergency, any kind of emergency, that everybody goes outside. So they just instructed everybody to walk outside and out from underneath any awnings or overhangs, and we stood there and we waited for everything to calm down. But it was pretty quick, I will say, but two pretty large jolts. And talking to several people who have worked there in the Pasadena area for quite some time, they all were saying that they haven't felt anything this strong in a very long period of time. So it's one of those things when you think about it happening, and immediately, we're in the news, and I think drop cover and hold on. I kind of failed in that respect. Didn't do any of that, but I kind of looked around, and everybody was just kind of stunned, and we all just followed each other outside, and no damage, and at this point, we really didn't feel any aftershocks, but it was pretty strong.